Hi, I'm Kira La Forgia, and welcome back to my channel. I am the founder of Paradigm Consulting, and my team and I have helped hundreds of business owners stop winging it with their people and start scaling with real structure. From wedding pros and creatives to agencies and e-commerce brands, we help small but mighty teams create cultures that actually work. And if you're here, you've probably asked yourself this lately, is my remote team member actually working, or are they just zoning out on my payroll? And this video is for you if you're running a remote or a flexible team, particularly a small business. If you're running a remote team and you work for a large corporation, this could still be really relevant for you. Most of your people are doing really great if you really resonate with that, but you also have one person that's starting to make you doubt whether or not they're actually getting the things done that they're supposed to during the timeframes when they're supposed to get them done. We're going to walk through how to spot the subtle signs of underperformance, how to hold one person accountable without micromanaging everyone, and how to protect your culture before your top performers check out too. So let's dive in. Basically, we've all had that experience where we have that one employee that seems to be a little bit behind what everybody else is doing, especially if you tend to have a highly engaged team that's really high performing and you've spent some time investing in making sure that people have their right jobs where they're supposed to be. You have company policies that you can lean on, all of that good stuff. But you just are noticing that you're not quite connecting with them. It doesn't feel like they're fully present. Deliverables are always late, or you're popping into the Google Doc and you're seeing that if it's quote unquote almost done, but really it was mostly just copied over from ChatGPT and changing some of that bold language. Sorry if this sounds a little specific, but also you are starting to think about it a lot more than you normally do. Your employees tend to be really great and they enjoy the work environment. You enjoy the relationships. They're passionate about the work that you do. And you're also really excited to have a team of people that you care about so that you can create a business that helps support their lives. Every now and then someone sneaks in and it ends up being a big culture disruptor. So if nothing else, this video should help you to identify what those signs are so that you can take quick action and that bad apple doesn't spoil the bunch. Here's the truth. Most people are not trying to take advantage. And in many situations, this is probably a management issue. So I hate to call you out in public, but without structure, even great employees can slip into gray areas. And if you are giving them a lot of structure, but they're still not performing, it may not be the exact structure that they need in order to thrive and succeed. When we as small business owners have someone that is disregarding what we need, or we feel like they're not actually tackling the projects the way that we want them done, and we feel like we've given them those clear expectations, we've given them those consistent check-ins, and we also have those shared definitions of success, it can feel really weird to have to say, I feel like you're just not working, or what have you been doing for the last hour? And I have to say that while that does come up, it's not necessarily something that's super rare. And I think that more times than not, it's going to be less about what you have set up for the employee, what the expectations are, and all of that, but more of a combination of how you've been leading them, what type of person they are in general, and what type of energy they're bringing to the job. And finally, just whether or not it's a good fit. Oftentimes, this happens within right around the 90-day mark of somebody joining your business. And I think that a lot of times that 90-day mark can start to show you where things are really lacking and whether or not it's worth the investment to keep going. I want to just say the very first thing that comes up when I talk about this is that all of our clients that deal with this issue, and in the past when maybe I have dealt with it a time or two, there's never been a clear reason why something isn't working the way it should. We could go all day to try to find the why behind the what and what is motivating this employee to do this or why they're not acting the same way that our other employees are. But we often, especially in the beginning stages of a relationship, don't have all the information. And especially with remote workers, it's really hard to shut off what's going on around us. So in many situations, we often have to train people for what it's like to be a professional in a remote environment. And it could just be that where they came from before versus where they're at now with your business are two totally different environments. And you might feel like you've really laid out those expectations, but they're probably just missing the mark because it's not quite connecting. I think the very first thing that you have to do is make sure that you are not thinking about this in a way that is inhuman or it's taking the humanity out of the situation. The biggest trap I've seen is if you notice one person slacking, you tighten the rules for everyone. Don't do that. Treat the person, not the policy. I was just recording a podcast episode earlier today and started to talk to the host a little bit about their previous experiences. And they mentioned this really toxic culture that they were in where every time that somebody would make a mistake, the owner would change the handbook down to like, I think she mentioned the exact outfit that she wasn't allowed to wear, but she didn't know that. So I think that the very first thing that we need to do is make sure that we're really focused on the individual person. And if you are their direct supervisor, that means that you're going to show up with confidence, but curiosity. Hey, I've noticed a pattern of lateness with some of the things that you're turning in. Or, hey, I've noticed that whenever I seem to need you on Slack during business hours, I'm unable to reach you. What's going on with that? Or even the impact of what those things happen. When things fall through the cracks, it affects the whole team and we can't stay on track. So it forces people to not be able to clock out for their early summer Fridays or things like that. We want to make sure that no matter what, we're going to start with curiosity, but we also want to explain the impact because that's the difference between micromanaging just for micromanaging's sake and managing someone into success in their role. Give your employee a chance to correct the behaviors by really laying out what's clear and expected of them, with also a clear benchmark of when these things should be solved by. The reason that I'm really leaning into that a little bit is because we do want to make sure that we have that HR documentation in place in case the employee isn't going to work out. We want to make sure that we can show that we gave them every opportunity to make those changes, and we can use our employee handbook or bad cop policies to ensure that those processes are being followed. If this employee happens to be managed by someone else in the business, you must loop in their manager and make sure that there's really clear expectations across the board. So they're not getting certain messaging from you, but not their direct supervisor. In small business, those wires can cross all the time. So another thing that I just want to bring up is that in this situation, it might feel like changing this employee's behavior is your objective, but it's not. Your objective is protecting your company culture from the bad apple in the bunch. So what I'd like to say is that we don't always know going into a situation like this what the actual situation is. Oftentimes, this is solved with really clear and direct management and meeting the employee where they are. The other issue is that some businesses are not in a position to train people on professionalism or to take a chance on somebody that has potential, but maybe is missing the mark in some very specific remote work areas. It's okay if your business isn't in a position to train someone to get to where you expected them to be when you hired them. And sometimes just having people in the job is what's going to show you what they're capable of. So it's absolutely necessary that you are noticing the ways in which the actions that you're taking are affecting your entire team morale. Remember, this isn't just about one person, it's actually about everyone else. We can't control the behaviors that our employee is doing. What we can do is approach with curiosity and kindness, try to establish clear expectations, and make sure that we are protecting our culture. Your best employees are watching what you do and how you handle this. If they see that there's low effort with no consequences, they're going to start to wonder why they're trying so hard. Holding people accountable isn't mean, it's leadership. And in a small remote team, it's everything. As you move forward and you figure out what to do with this problematic employee, start to think about the playbook that we have here. Number one, don't ignore the patterns that you're seeing. Your gut is probably right. If something feels off, there's probably something off. Having direct, meaningful, and honest conversations with them is going to be your first step. Be curious and try to collect as much data as you can with what's going on with them. Because not only is this going to impact the way that you move forward with managing your team, but it's also really helpful data if they're a new employee to help you to really make sure that you're getting better and better and better at spotting talent that is cohesive with your business. Second in your playbook is don't create new rules for the whole team based on one person's behavior. That creates a really unstable environment. If you want to learn a little bit more about that, make sure that you click on our other videos linked below about our employee handbook and how it can be the bad cop in your business. Holding those policies strong and firm and not changing them every time you have a new person come in the business that maybe throws things off a little bit can be really confusing. Number 3 in your playbook, do have the conversation. Use clarity, consistency, and care, and make sure that any stakeholders in the employee's performance are involved with the expectations that are set to remove any type of confusion. And make sure that you follow up and you follow through. This is important for your HR compliance. I would say 70% of the time, you're going to see a lot of improvement right out the gate. And it's, if anything, going to help you to solve the issue of where someone might be falling flat on the side of their skills instead of their behaviors, because those are two totally different things. Behaviors are easy to fix. Skills are sometimes going to be a little bit harder. And if we have the data that's showing us that they don't have the skills in order to make sure that they're accomplishing the goal of their job objective, then we have something to work with in order to make sure that we're either setting them up for success with a different position or finding a better fit for that role, or to make sure we find a better fit to ensure that your company is getting the ROI from your team to keep your progress moving forward in regards to growing and scaling your business. Either way, you make sure that you stay in your leadership lane, take full ownership of the personnel decisions that you're making, and take a rapid and valid and direct interest in how your culture is shaped by the people that you hire. If you've only got less than 20 people on your team, everybody is at least 5% of your culture, which is a huge number. So keep that in mind as you're continuing to make these decisions. And if you ever need that help and support, make sure that you're downloading our PDF file that comes alongside our leadership archetype quiz linked below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.